Emmanuel Wazwe, Afia TV Deputy Chief Correspondent, has been bringing us up to speed with a certain collapse that led to a lot of people being injured in another building that they were just basically minding their business, and someone's structure collapsed, leading to the injuring of a mother, her baby, another person, 3 people, and even probably more currently in the hospital receiving treatment as a result of this faulty structure that collapsed at the weekend in Umuahia. We're also seeing a controversy in Enugu State where some people are claiming and, of course, alleging that they witnessed the collapse of some of the sections of the smart schools, whereas the government on its own part is saying that this was demolished. So it's rather controversial. We can't classify it in any way possible at this point in time, but of course, we're still investigating the matter and, of course, bring you up to speed in the course of the bulletins at Afia TV. Joining us now to assess the way forward, the pathway forward, is Engineer Nick Ozonsi, Civil Engineer, Lecturer, Faculty of Engineering, Enugu State University of Science and Technology. Thank you so much, Engineer Ozonsi, for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
And welcome to the program.
Well, welcoming us. That's great. We're all welcome, highly welcome then.
For viewers.
For viewers.
Oh, nice.
So let's begin with what we can confirm now, and that's the case in Umuahia.
Okay.
One building collapsed, allegedly owned by one chief, Ikechi Emenike. And now we understand that the site engineer has been arrested and is going to be probed as the government intends to get more information about it. Now that collapse led to the collapse of another section of another building that was next to it because of the structural issues with that building. So we have a lot of structures that people are setting up. No one knows the quality of materials they are using. Oji has raised so many concerns about the authorities not carrying out the integrity tests on those structures. But being in the field, being a civil engineer, could you bring us up to speed with what could actually lead to such incidents?
Thank you very much. I laughed when you said that the site engineer was arrested because a building collapse involves a lot of people. It's not centered on one person, starting from the design, going to the field. It's only then during implementations that you start having maybe the engineer coming in. You don't know what was designed and given to him. Now, let's look at the situation. There are a lot of reasons why building collapse. There are a lot of reasons. Number one is the design standard. What did you put in place? Did you make a head that can carry a big box, or you make a head that can carry a smaller box? If you are designing a building, the first thing that you do is to carry out geological investigations. And in this geological investigation, you need to ascertain the soil-bearing capacity of the area. Now, this soil-bearing capacity of part of Nigeria here, or even in the whole Nigeria, they differ from state to state. So there are people that they don't carry out these investigations. There are people that go to the ministry and they get documents that they have carried out the geological investigation, and to cut corners. So by the time you carry a load that is heavier than the soil, the tendency is that after a little while you notice that the building will start settling. Some people say it's collapsing. It started settling. Before you know it, you notice cracks. Before you see cracks, the building collapsed. So that is one of the major reasons people don't put into consideration the strength of the soil of the area where they are working. Number two, the mix design or mix standard. We have what we call mix standard. That is the aggregate cement water ratio. How do you apportion these ratios? Because different standards is for different parts of the structures. There are some for the beams, there are some for the columns, there are some for the floor, and the slabs. So sometimes when you give instructions, or sometimes some people don't give, when these things, construction keep going on, and you take cement that is meant for the beam, a concrete that is meant for the beam and the column. Now, you use it, you go and take the one that is meant for the floor and put there. It's a problem. Now, you look at the reinforcement details, which is still under this design. The reinforcement details, there are a lot of iron bars they fix in pillars and in columns and beams. Some people use less a weaker strength of this iron. And then instead of using like maybe Y16, Y25, these are the sizes. Somebody will go and economize to start using Y10 for a column for a house that is maybe up to 3 or 4 stories. And then the strength of that beam or column is determined by the strength of the concrete inside it, by the size of the iron bars or the iron reinforcement put inside this thing. So by the time these things are not put in place, you are creating problem for that building. Not only that, competency. There are people that answer engineers in the field when they are not. There are artisans that don't even have, they have never undergone competent tests, or trade tests, like the GTC students or whatever. So people will come out and claim, they only tell the laborers, please join the cement, do this, do that. And the owner of the building will pay them cheaper.
Right.
So there's a lot of other ones, with time, we unravel it.
Now, the site engineer is probably answering so many questions right now, no more here. Let's bring it now back to Enugu. Now, we cited at the beginning of this segment that there's a controversy as to what actually happened. Now, everybody has their truth. Some sections of the community have theirs. Government has their truth. But what we are not sure of right now is the fact on this matter. But let's look at what is a constant. And that is the fact that some contractors, somehow, in some places, are not doing the right thing. We've seen the case in ESUT, local government area. We've seen the case in Achiuno. We've also seen the case of the one that the SSG had to terminate. He announced that his contract was terminated earlier this month. That was July 6th, because the contractor was reportedly not doing the right thing. So 3 critical cases have been reported and can be confirmed. What do you think is really going on with these contractors? Are they racing against time? Is the September deadline putting them under pressure, as some pundits believe? Is it a rainy season? Or is it just that they don't know what they're doing?
It's okay. Let me take the one that happened, is it issues or whatever? Let's take it for an example. The zone, we have what we call geological zones, from issues down to governors themselves, that is Uwo, down to part of Nkanu and part of this Enugu, this way. They have what we call very weak soil. The soil plasticity is so weak. I mean, the water content of their soils, especially during rainy season, is so bad. You move area towards UD, they have sandy soil. So they have like better stable soil. Now, but this notwithstanding, some people don't carry out geological investigations, as I said. So the contractor that work there, in fact, generally, apart from doing government contracts, I worked in that zone. If you ordinarily build a house in dry season, it looks so nice, so beautiful, even a story. But once dry season comes up fully, you notice that, rainy season, the whole area will absorb water. And the water will remain. Towards the end of the rainy season, going towards dry season, you notice cracks. So there will be cracks in this building because that's what we call shear. So the soil, ordinarily, even if you're not an engineer, look at the ground, you see that there are cracks in the natural ground, showing that dryness has taken place and separation has started. So that is why people that are building over those areas use different type of foundations. We have different type of foundations, strip foundations, raft foundations, raft piles, and what have you. So these foundations I'm talking about, some of them are reinforced from the foundation with irons and very high level grade concrete. You would think that they are putting what people normally call narrowly lintel or beams. They do it right inside the foundation to hold these shear forces so that instead of cracking, it will remain. But some people will just come. We are doing government contract. Speedily, they pour a concrete blinding inside the foundation and they start laying blocks, maybe putting some skeletal pillars or whatever. So this is the second thing that creates problem for us. Number 3 is corruption. Whatever thing the contractor is doing in the field, the supervising ministries or supervising staffs will be giving him load. Go ahead, because he's giving them their part. So Corruption is one of the most important. The number 4 is negligence, or should I call it a lack of experience. There are, like I said earlier before now, there are people that don't actually understand what we're talking about. And even if there are people also who claim to be engineers, an architect that drew a house we tell is an engineer. He's only a designer, it's just like somebody who knows how to draw. It is the engineer who knows the reinforcement details. It's the engineer that knows the concrete strength, you know. So some of these tests in buildings usually go stage by stage to ascertain competency tests, and of course, adding some what we call factors of safety. If this basin is meant to carry 50 people, you create it to be about 70. So I don't even get what I'm saying. If you're supposed to carry about 50 kg, you make it 70. So that 20 is the factor of safety, is a kind of allowance. Should the normal weight be exceeded, but some of these people, they don't do this. So if you are building a 4-story building, first of all, you have to ask for 1 story or 2 story. You need to know the weight of that total weight, joining all the materials and everything together to compare it with the ground where it's standing. So the case of ESUT is what the government of Enugu State did. I think I like it. That building has been demolished, destroyed, and the contractor will start afresh. And of course, they may even remove the contractor from the site and retrieve or collect back the money paid to him. Because if you look at the structure itself, there are a lot of things for enforcement that need to put in place. Nothing. He didn't consider the soil.
There are rumors. We can't confirm that the contractor, the person in charge, ran off. But we can't confirm that.
It's better he ran away where they will not see him again. Because
it's so ugly that it's government's, contracts that we always complain about and all that, right? So that brings me to the question on how we talk about cutting corners.
Yes, kickbacks.
So these agencies that are meant to be investigating and approval, and the other ones cutting corners because apparently their money changing hands and all that stuff and approving what they're not meant to approve. And also going to investigate literally if these works they're using the solid materials for these buildings. Like, how do we avert these issues? Is it a time for us to bring private audits?
Let me help you. You are now coming into, let me just touch it before I answer your question. When my good friend Natalie was talking about getting the engineer from Omahia arrested, the site engineer, you are now coming into the issue, bringing in some other people who are culprits. Are you getting me? Yes. So the engineer is just at the site. Somebody has gone there and said that what is going on is right. Now, in federal highways, you have what is called Pavement Evaluation Unit, PEU. These people, their job is to visit the highway during construction, ascertain the thickness of the pavement, ascertain the type of asphalt, and whatever be the thing that is going on. But you believe me that I met a Lebanese man, and I asked him that this is, I have the drawing. Sorry, I didn't let you know that I was former chairman, Federal Ministerial Monitoring Team, Office of the Minister for Works, Abuja. Are you getting me?
That's impressive.
So, yes, I was monitoring the entire South. So, after I'm not a staff of we were not staffs of the Federal Minister of Works. We were appointed by the presidency under the Minister of Works. And we were going from state to state. Could you believe that the standard given to construction companies have been compromised? But people visit the site every week with their own drawing. So, coming to your question, the problem we have is not that the government is not funding. The government could be funding the contract, but the contractors may not be moving with speed. Some other time, the government may be underfunding the contract and expecting miracle to be happening on their construction sites. Then coming back to the supervising agencies like what we are talking, how we can, either alleviate the problem or maybe stop the influx of people that, collect some of these bribes. Let me tell you, bribery in Nigeria has gone into the marrows of most of these civil servants. Maybe sometimes some complain they are not being paid. Sometimes it is in their nature. So what we did, let me open up, because I think I've gotten to a stage in this country where I speak. some governors were asked to carry out construction jobs in their state that belong to the federal, that at the end of the day, that the federal government will reimburse them. It was a sweet and good time for the governors. And because if they are waiting for Federal Ministry of Works to come to every state by themselves, it may take 20 years, 10 years. So governors were asked to take priority projects, especially on the road. You believe me that by the time I came for investigation, because we were to compare what they have done to what government will pay them, the federal government. So when I go to some states, I might mention some states have done 15%. They are asking us to sign that they have done 85% to 90% to enable federal government pay them with big bags of bribes. And we told them, some of us, no. Integrity is involved.
Some of you guys, not all.
I said some of us.
Okay.
We said no, that integrity is involved. The Nigerian Society of Engineers is involved. The Quran, which is the governing body, is involved.
All right.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
At the end of the day, the governors wanted we that came for investigations to turn around. Some did 10%, like Elichin during that time. Let me not be mentioning them, as them. Even our own former Governor Sullivan. They wanted us to write that they have done bigger job than what they have done. So to come to answer your question, if we have done that, we have equally compromised ourselves. So what of even the supervising ministries? It's just like asking somebody to repent as a Christian. It is a thing of the heart. Please. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick breaking story. I'm sure you're seeing the reel there at the bottom of your screen. If you love listening to Afia Radio 99.3 FM, we need to bring you up to speed with the fact that the radio will be going on this maintenance from 10 a.m. So from 10 a.m., Afia Radio 99.3 FM would be off temporarily to allow the engineers to go in there and ensure that you get the best sound right after the maintenance. So please bear with us during this routine check. Now, Engineer Ozonsi, there are people that are asking this question. Why wouldn't the Enugu state government reveal who these contractors are? They want to know the contractors. They want it to be transparent. But it appears that even when those defaulters are caught and released or told to leave the job, we still don't know who they are. Do you think that the list of contractors for the smart schools should be made public?
Yes, I think recently there is something that happened in Enugu State, and that thing was changing of commissioners and appointing some new commissioners.
The cabinet reshuffle.
Yes, and fortunate enough, one of us, Engineer Benjamin Oko, was appointed the commissioner for works in Enugu State. He was my student at the Enugu State University of Science and Technology, and is very competent and intelligent, and is an uncompromising civil engineer, Benjamin Oko. So, with him, I think at the ministry level, there's going to be a lot of change. Number two, making the people public. It does not mean anything. It's just to blacklist them among people, registered government contractors. You blacklist them, you don't give them any other job. That would be a big lesson to them. Are you getting me? And because he may go about going to publish somebody's names and then he start to go to court with you. Because the contract agreement will be put on the ground. But since there is evidence that some of them are doing substandard jobs in some of the contracts given to them, government should blacklist them and then stop giving them contracts.
How do you think the recent incidents this month would impact the Enugu Smart Green School project?
Well, I think there is a timeline for some of these projects, and that's why you see some people running helter-skelter. The Smart School project, I wouldn't say it's not so good. It's so good and so nice. But the sustainability of that smart school, by the time this governor leaves office, can another governor sustain that project? But if it's being sustained, it's going to impact so much in the lives of the pupils and, of course, even the parents. Because there are technologies and new innovations in education in that smart school program. If it's to be followed to the, there are some of them that when you see, you'll be thinking that whether the former old primary school is better, than them. And more importantly, or what I should say is more significantly is that there are some primary school which the poor citizens used to attend around the area. And when smart school was made in that compound, some of these people have been displaced. So what we are talking about is how do we accommodate some of these people from the usual government secondary schools. So, but for academics, I think it will have a very strong impact in the pupil. It will bring innovations.
Right.
It will expose the students to the things they never knew.
The positive benefits, the benefits of this are unarguable.
Yes.
There are very, very great projects going on. But the question I asked was the recent incidents,
Of course.
early July, mid-July. We're not sure whether they collapsed or whether they were demolished. Remember, it's still, opinions are still divided,
Okay.
right? And that's actually why I told the control room to drop that, the lower bar, because we have still yet to confirm that what we are sure of is the one in Umuahia.
Okay.
But the essence is that nobody has denied the incompetence exuded by the contractors that handled those ones that had issues. That one is a fact for sure. Now, I asked, how would the latest situations impact the outlook of the smart schools? There are some people online that are already saying things like, oh, just a few months into it, it hasn't even started, I already seen them coming down, this and that. How do you think this would impact the project? And how can the negative PR following this incident be managed?
Well, if you look at it, it's actually demoralizing from the vision of our able governor, Dr. Peter Ndubi Simba. His aim is not that school should be built and after a month or 2 or 3 it should start collapsing. So I think it's what I should call the administrative ineptitude, the ineptitude of the supervising staffs that are in charge of that particular place. Because you don't allow a building, a contractor to finish a building from foundation to roofing without going to the site, knowing what is happening. So it's going to affect the people, both the parents and the pupil over that environment. Not only that, the vision or the aim of building this smart school was to give some communities befitting schools that has, the current standards of educational curriculum and other facilities that are needed there. So for the period that this new arrangement will start off again, it's going to affect the people. Not only that, the government might even decide to take some decisive actions as against how they have been monitoring project, because it's a shame. It's not an individual project. And if you look, an in-depth investigation has shown me that some of the people that are carrying out this job are doing it that they use it to settle them. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yes, governor has approved this one for me to do this contract. Yeah, settle me.
But that's the kind of politics we play in Nigeria.
Are you getting? So, these are some of the things that are actually causing this problem.
Now, before we let you go, we're already out of time, 2 minutes overstretched, but I'll ask you this before we let you go. Between the two sides of this story, people saying one thing, government saying another, which side are you inclined to believe with regards to what happened to the smart schools?
It is the government that gave the contract that has to carry out a proper investigation, set up even panel of inquiry to investigate. Ordinarily, as engineers, you don't start up to say that a building collapsed. It is as a result of this man's ineptitude, or maybe it's a technical fault. No, investigation has to be carried out from the material to the geological and every other thing, so that you can find out where did this problem come up. So it's not what we stand up and say that it is Natalie that caused the collapse of the building. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much once again, Engineer Nick Ozonsi, for joining. Yes, and your shade well received. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we've come to the end of the Afia Morning Show today. Up next is a Business Morning with Marvelous Apuamaga. I've been your host as always, Nathalie Uku. Before we go, happy birthday, CC.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Pastor CC. I'm sure you see this message and maybe you give me some cake. Nathalie Uku once again.
And I remember G. Happy birthday, CC the Rabbi, OAP presenter, sports, TV and radio. Have a great day. Bye for now.